Okay, part two. Where we last left off, Irma was coming up the East Coast. Truck was distinctively more than likely going to be down, so our typical plan of we just take our house and trailer and go is not totally an option at that point. Our original plan of location to bug out to Orlando, just to kind of get away from the coast and away from the low-lying grounds, is also not an option at that point. So we're now looking at, let's look at timeline, let's look at locations, let's look at what do we want to do. At this point, we're looking at inconvenience issues with the trailer. The trailer was not at risk at this point. There was no concern of damages because the winds were not forecasted in our area to be any more than 30 to 50 mile an hour. Now, some people may go, whoa, 30, 50 mile an hour, that'll tear a roof off. Yes. You got to remember, though, we live in an RV. These things are built to drive down the road at 70, 80 mile an hour. These things can handle those kind of winds and speeds. Yes, if you blow a tractor trailer or an RV from the side, it'll blow over. But those are moving down the road on wheels. This one's on jacks, on a stable ground, surrounded by other buildings and trees and stuff like that. So we should be pretty secure with a north wind coming in us because we are facing the river from the south. So our concern is a south wind, but not a north wind. Trailer at this point is not a concern, was not a risk. It was a comfort of we're going to lose power because we're lower level or lower ground. We may have some higher water, which will make it uncomfortable coming and going. Let's treat this as a vacation. We got our supplies all ready to go. As a captain, I have a go kit that literally, if somebody calls me and says, "Hey, I need you," I've got a bag, a tote. I mean, my go kit's ready. My packing is done. Carly and the kids both have bags pretty much ready to go of general items. So we just throw our bathroom stuff in and kind of load up from there. So there was nowhere near a panic types or a risks or safety type of situation going on. The forecast for the storm. This was the early forecast of Irma up the west coast, Sunday a.m. into Miami area. And by Monday morning a.m. it's gone. 40 mile an hour wind. We've had wind gusts 40 mile an hour, so sustained wasn't going to be a problem. So at this point, looking at timelines, we knew that, okay, payday's fall on a weird day. Because of the storms we've had come up with some of the others, I've had some downtime from work. Let's call in some favorites. Let's make sure we're comfortable. Let's make sure that if the worst case scenario, we can handle this. We called in favors to family. We checked with friends. We got everything we needed to get done and prepped, done. At the same time, I'm dealing with the truck. We're dealing with work. I'm self-employed, but at the same time, I work part-time with Freedom Boat. We were going to make sure that the docks there were secured, doing our daily routine. It was work as normal for a while there, because for our area, it was gorgeous. Great days to go fishing, just didn't have time to do it. So the path then changed for Irma, and it shifted west. And when it shifted west, and this is one of the newest, this is how far west it has shifted. This is how far west it has ended up shifting. It first went to just into the coast, then it went up middle of the state, then it went up east or west, and now we're looking at, is it even going to go into the Gulf? We really don't know at this point. That's how much this thing has changed. So more of our plans. Our next plan was just heading north. Let's look at Sarasota, Tampa. Next thing after that was how far north can we go? We got family in Jacksonville. East Coast is still not known because of what we're looking at. Then we started looking at Dothan, Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, even Tennessee as options there. When we came down to those last 72 hours or so, and we knew that, okay, we're going to do something. We knew north. We knew we were in a position with the rental vehicle because our truck's still in the shop of planning on, we can just drive. Let's just see where we end up. And aiming for, we got a hotel in Mississippi. It's clear enough going Atlanta. At this point, I'm seeing everyone going into Atlanta, everyone going north to Alabama and Georgia. That puts us far enough out of the way. Which, I'll come back to this. Part of the reasons we're looking in that direction is because we're not a medically needed family. We're not in a position that we have struggles we're dealing with as some of these people are dealing with. We are able-bodied. We can drive longer. We can, if we got in a bind, we can sleep in the truck. We are not in a position where we need medical facilities or equipment regularly. We are in a rental vehicle, so I'm trusting it very, very much more than I would even my own vehicles, because it's funny to say, but when you've got a rental, it's really great. That's part of what you pay for is being able to make a phone call and go, I'm stranded, your truck broke down. When you're on your own vehicle, funds becomes an issue. And early on, we were planning for, we're going to get the truck back, we're going to prepare funds, because now we're hauling truck and trailer. That changes, the truck went away. So that was what kind of led some of our choices of where and why and how, is our capabilities, as well as our knowledge and our planning, and as well as being able to get back to things. Because as this has shifted, the trailer has become more and more of a risk. The problem was no one's been available. Transporters are already up and gone. No rental companies have anything that would haul this that we could find that would be even feasible, much less where to go, because the people in the Keys and the East Coast who were bugging out because they knew early on it's going to hit East Coast are already in those locations. So, and in fact, the hotels in Fort Myers were getting full because we were the bug out location. You know, we in our trip have run into people from Miami, from the Keys, from Orlando, have literally come west to get over in Fort Myers and Tampa to get away from the storm, which is now going to be coming up the West Coast. So this storm is big, and you see Facebook pictures showing how the storm a few years back that came into the East Coast that was Category 5 was so much smaller than the coverage of Irma. Irma is a record-setting storm. It is covering the state. This is not, and the weather stations have said it, this is not a point on a map. We know that. It's a storm. We're used to storm fronts and the tracking coming onshore. Anyone that knows me knows I love the weather stuff. If anyone from Weather Underground's out there and wants to do some sponsor when I get my boat going again, I'd love to talk to y'all, because I use the storm app daily at the docks and on the boat, and the Weather Underground app, and I'll show a little bit here from online. I'm using some of their systems because we've been watching this. I love using those apps and using it to see. That's what we based a lot of our information on and our comfort level on. So as we got things in position and ready to go, and knew our choices, funds were great, family was wonderful to help us out and then make sure we were in the position we needed to be in. So when Irma switched its pathing, or its paths, and decided to go a different direction, and completely shift on us, then that became a situation where we now need to look at where is it going. So this has been the history of Irma up to this point. And it's pretty consistent with any potential. The thing that we look at though is, what's it going to do next? Really? Phone getting full, maybe? But that's what it is. Okay. And that's where we look at what is it going to do. Well, to give you an idea, and I think I'm going to have to take the other camera because this one, I think I filled my phone up with little videos. Looking at what Harvey did, for instance. Harvey's original forecast was this. This is what Harvey was originally supposed to do. That was its originally forecasted path. What it ended up doing was this. So, when you compare what was planned and what happened, you can kind of understand a little bit more of why we took this forecast as pretty serious early on. Let's see what we need to do. And then saw the spaghetti models and started making our plans. But when it shifted to this, our plans go out the window. Because as you can see, the plans change, and no matter whether we had decided Atlanta, Huntsville, Panama City, Mississippi, Tampa, we have a potential of being in the same boat. Now, somebody out there is going to say, no, it's different inland and it's category different. That's fine. But part of what we're looking at here is if we have to go home to get back to what disaster are we looking at, storm surges are concerned, not wind. We are safe and secure here. As this jumps down to Category 3 and less as it progresses across, as the forecast is going, it's dropping that wind speed, and we're going to be in a little bit better position, from where we were. So those are things we took into account, and there's a lot more to that than that. But we knew that okay, there's a risk there. So that's a little bit more about the choices we've made and why. We are currently in North Tampa near Busch Gardens. Found a hotel here. In fact, on our route to Mississippi, hearing on the radio the changes, seeing the changes just in that last 6 or 7 hours as we're moving out, we were able to make calls and hit 41 and go side roads and stay out of the highway. But we're already hearing that the highway was getting backups. I was talking to people who were still staying in Fort Myers, people who were already out of Fort Myers, and hearing that we've got a potential 12-hour trip ahead of us to where we want to go, where we were planning on going, which is potentially in the path still. And we've got people who've gone what is normally 3 to 5 hours away and already did 11 hours plus, and they're still going. So on the city roads, we did very well getting 3 hours away in 2.5, 3 hours. Currently, there is still backup on the highway. We're not in a position that we are medically concerned or other issues that we need to be the ones sitting in that traffic. The people in that traffic need to be the ones that need to be that far away, have concerns of where they're at, or could not get a hotel or something else, or can't be watching the weather or whatever reason. Whatever it is, we were fine with that. We know. So, next video, I'll go into the preps we're at, where we're at now, what we're expecting, what we're seeing, what our optimism is, as well as the worst case scenario. I'll show you a little bit of where we're at, what the forecasts are here in these two places, as well as what we're doing and what we're expecting. See you in a bit.